The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville, and then from 10 until 11 on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham and News Radio 1440 in Montgomery, and then once again at 10 p.m. on WVNN in Huntsville. So enough Dale Jackson for everybody. With me, as always, Mecca Music. She is the CEO of 256today.com, smart news for smart people. We've got a great show for you today. Yaffe will be with us. He's a radio talk show host as well. We'll get his thoughts on a lot of things that are happening in the state of Alabama. And I've got a parting shot for all the teachers out there concerned about their students. I've got the solution for you. So stay tuned for all of that. It's live, folks. All right, let's talk a little bit about these, how can I put this? The buyouts. They're not actually buyouts, but a lot of people are talking about them as they are. The federal government employees could potentially get buyouts. Will Alabamians take it? Will this be something? Will they return to the office or will they GTFO? I mean, that is the real question. And Beck, I don't know if you know what that means, but the simple fact is I'm married to a government employee.
Yes.
And here's what I know. Nobody wants this.
No.
They don't want to return to the office, but they don't want the buyout either.
No, they don't. No. And if we're just talking about North Alabama alone, we're talking about thousands and thousands of federal employees around Redstone Arsenal who work at Redstone Arsenal. What are the comments you're getting? Because I've heard a lot of, we don't even have an office anymore.
Yep.
Like we gave up our building, we don't have space. There seems to be a lot of mass confusion. And same, I haven't talked to anyone who actually wants to take the buyout. But if they did, they have mentioned it's very confusing on how it would actually work.
Okay, so the advice I have for the federal government employees is the same advice I give my wife regularly. Shut up. Okay, I'm
that's
joking.
terrible.
I know it is. Okay, so the point is, they're all out there talking about, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. They're giving their name to the New York Times and all these other things. Stop. If they don't have office space, they're not going to have to go back.
All right.
It's that simple. This is a Washington, D.C. problem. Mm-hmm. This is not a Redstone Arsenal problem. This is not a problem with other military installations inside the state of Alabama. This is a Washington, D.C. issue. And anyone creating an issue here is creating it for themselves. Telling the New York Times that you live in Nashville and don't want to drive to work, and that's the thing. What a stupid thing to do. So can I tell that person to shut up?
No, let's just be polite. But I would say, remember how the federal spending freeze kind of had to be halted for a time?
Yeah.
I think something like that is going to happen with this. No, maybe not completely reversed, but there's going to be time to figure out how is this actually going to work. There's a lot more than just signing an executive order. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And they have until Thursday of this upcoming week to figure all of this out. I think it's a trap. I think it really is. It's an intelligence trap. If you fall into this, you fall into this intelligence trap, it's probably good that you got out of the workforce, because you're giving up a pretty good job with pretty sweet benefits. And if you do that because you don't want to go back to the office, you're making a huge mistake. And by the way, all this talk about, like, oh, they can't make us do this. Remember when the vaccine mandate was going on?
Yes.
And the argument was, these are Joe Biden's employees and he can make them do whatever he wants? Mm-hmm.
These are President Trump's
employees. This is
same
thing.
I agree with you. But I have not met one person who was like, oh, yeah, this buyout sounds like a good idea. Let's do this.
Not going to happen. It's just people who don't want to go back to work, and they'll eat it and they'll walk away. That's all it is. And you know what? You're probably better off to have them out. All right, moving on. Let's talk about ICE here in Alabama. Let's talk about smart things. Like, I don't know, there's a crackdown going on around the country, and I don't know, go to Albertville, a place with a very high Hispanic population, and hold a giant rally talking about how no one's illegal on stolen land and things like that. All sorts of silly things that do draw attention. Okay, that's smart. Also antagonize a legislature that is chomping at the bit to show that they are on board with President Trump's immigration crackdown. Just brilliant stuff all the way around. Now, the question here, ICE is already in the state. I'll talk later about the schools during the party shot. But will the locals help? Yeah, except in all the places you know that they won't. And those would be the places with very high crime rates like Montgomery and Birmingham and places like that. The police aren't going to help. everywhere else, they're going to be like, did you see the ones over here? Did you see
Across the board, there has been support, not only for this, but all of President Trump's measures, but especially this one in Alabama. Even in Governor Kay Ivey voiced her support and what they could do to help. I think you're going to see that in the majority of Alabama.
Yeah, with both law enforcement and legislatively. Now, we already had a bill passed a while back, a couple of years ago, HB 57, I believe it was, where they tried to pass a law, the Beeson-Hammond Act, and it was immigration law, and the federal courts came in, and there was a big fight about it, and it was a big mess. They don't even have to go that far now. All they have to do is just help with what's already going on, and the courts have significantly changed. You had 4 years of Trump. Yes, you had Biden in there, but now Trump's back in. You also have an AG who that nationally, they're not going to be fighting these battles against locals. That's not going to happen. The Justice Department's not going to be doing that. So the land is very different here. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people wanting to help get this crackdown going. And all of this is about one thing, making them leave on their own. I mean, that's really what it is.
A large part of it is messaging.
Yeah, it's messaging and making them leave on their own. And they're like, oh, but who's going to pick? On CNN this week, there was a lady going, who's going to pick the blueberries? That's going to upset a lot of women. And I was like, oh my God, that's how she said it. But my point is this, 1% of illegal workers are working in farms.
No, I understand that. But let me ask you a question, and this can also apply to the first topic, and I know we're late on this topic.
Late.
But let me just go really quick.
Sure.
Okay, so do you think, though, there eventually will be pushback from business leaders, from some Republicans, on some of these measures?
At their own peril.
Okay.
I mean, just at this point, they're going after criminals.
Right.
And that's what it is. If they start going to schools and plucking kids out, then we'll have a different conversation. All right, moving on. The gambling conversation is still going on in this state. I don't know why everything is so opaque and weird when it comes to this. They're going to have to do it, says the House. They're going to have to do it, says the Senate. We did it last time. There was a big argument about who's going to carry the bill this time, and it looks like it's going to have to go through the Senate. Now, last week, Mecca viciously accused me of being anti-gambling, which I will tell you, I love gambling in almost every possible way.
Viciously,
this is accusation.
Okay.
And my whole thing has always been, I want it to be legal in the ways that it makes sense for the state of Alabama. Does a casino make sense for the state of Alabama? No, because I'm not going to Fultondale instead of going to Vegas.
Except for the Porch.
No, not even them. I mean, they're already here. I wouldn't
meant.
expand. I mean, sure, if you have to do the lottery and then they get to take a step up, I don't care about that.
Okay.
But I don't want it in downtown Birmingham. I don't want it in all these different places. They're not going to be tourist destinations. It's just not going to be. You're sucking the money out of those communities, which those things already are. But you can't get anyone to tell you what it actually is, Republican, Democrat, or otherwise. So that tells me that there's something afoot.
Yes.
And when they get down there, they're all going to go, I just ran into the guys in the hall, and we all agreed, and this is what we come up with, and this bill just fell out of my pocket.
Well, and you're saying, why is this so opaque? You have to also keep in mind, I mean, are they basically starting from square one again after last year's failure to get this massive, comprehensive bill through? Is this is it because, are we not hearing anything because everybody wants to say, okay, this is what we can get done, this is what we can't get done? And meanwhile, opposition, though, is being vocal right now. Like API is very against gambling in the state. They have not stopped that push and that messaging. So that kind of tells you.
But they have to win every time. The pro gamblers have to win once.
But that tells you something could be afoot, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, they're here, and just again, keep this in mind. As close as they've gotten in the past, every single time something changes, the numbers change.
Exactly.
If you go, okay, we're going to have a casino in Birmingham, there's 3 people that will drop off, or
Right.
1 person that will jump in, and so there's a lot of different. You can't. And this is the question I asked this week on the radio. I said, can you do just a little bit more? And the answer is no. It's either status quo or an explosion of gambling. And if that's the case, well, Mecca, you're viciously correct. I am against that. Let's move on and talk a little bit about the Tuskegee Airmen. There were a lot of fake news scandals that we hear a lot, like the Elon Nazi salute. That's a fake news scandal, in my opinion. This is another one of those. The Tuskegee Airmen being removed from the curriculum of the Air Force. Why? Because of an executive order put together by Donald Trump and then some malicious compliance from some people inside the government, meaning they're complying with what they believe is the letter of the law, but they're doing it in the dumbest way possible. Here's another example of it. When there was a government shutdown a couple of years ago, instead of all the park workers going away, they went and got barriers and put them in front of an open-air World War II monument and then stood there keeping World War II veterans from going in. Technically, they were following the rules. The monuments were closed. They had to keep people away. But it was malicious, and it was meant to cause pain and chaos so people would go, can you believe this?
Right.
Donald Trump wants to take the Tuskegee Airmen out of the Air Force curriculum? Yes, that's exactly what the order said. That's what he wants to do. He hates the Tuskegee Airmen. Unless, of course, when he was president, he specifically worked to honor them. Katie Britt came out and said, hey, this is garbage. This is malicious compliance. She used those exact words. Pete Hegseth just had been confirmed, said, we're going to fix this, and they did. Was this fake news?
I mean, I don't know if it was fake news because it obviously happened, and Senator Britt spoke on it. And
well, I mean, Elon made an arm motion too, but he wasn't being a Nazi, so that's fake news. I mean, that's.
Can we please be done with that topic?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I think Britt did a good job of being like, no, this is what's happening, and obviously Hegseth backed her up. I was happy to see her step out and get in front of this.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing, and you had people like Randall Woodfin. Oh, how does this bring down the price of eggs? It's like, come on, man. I mean, congratulations on not being murdered in your city the other day. But are you really think it's the appropriate? Well, I'm just saying, do you really think it's appropriate for him to be talking like that? He goes out and goes on television and starts talking about all sorts of crazy things and tries to score all these silly political points. So he has all this stuff going on there. Terry Sewell tried to make an issue of this as well. And that's what it was for. That's what I'm talking about, why I think it's fake. Issue. They created an issue out of thin air so they could do it. Therefore, yes, Dale. It is fake news.
Was that me talking? Okay.
No, it was not. When we come back, Yaffe will be with us. He's a radio talk show host. We'll have a conversation with him. And I've got a party shot for you at the end of the program about ICE in schools. So stay tuned to that. It's Alabama Politics this week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant, and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Get Fox 54 Plus everywhere you stream. Watch local newscasts live or on your schedule, plus exclusive specials like Weekend Review, a recap of the week's top stories. Fox 54 Plus, live, local, and always on.
Well, welcome back to Alabama Politics this week. I'm Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Music. And our guest this week is Yaffe from the Yaffe program on WVNN in North Alabama. He is on from 9 until 11. He's got a great lead-in. It's the Dale Jackson Show. But we appreciate Yaffe joining us here. Yaffe, I want to ask you about President Trump's comments after the plane crash with the helicopter in Washington, D.C. He immediately came out and sort of made a comment and said, we don't know what it is, but we've got to have the best and the brightest. And he sort of blamed DEI for it. I think some of the media coverage has been overblown on what he actually said. Shouldn't he have kept this in his pocket, Yaffe?
Yes, I think so. At least for 24 hours. That's all I'm asking. 24 hours. Just let's stop with this. And I saw people on the left kind of doing this, blaming Trump for some of the cuts or whatever. And there might be a grain of truth to what Trump is saying here, but just a little bit more discipline. That's all I'm asking. 24 hours, let's wait to do this.
Or at least no. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, do the investigation. And if this is the reason, then yeah, let's talk about this. But throwing it out there immediately, and he did it kind of willy-nilly because that's how he talks, and that's, he's BSing.
But I think he did say we don't know if that's what happened, but this incident proves why we need the best and brightest, right?
Right, but as we all know, I don't know why we're having this conversation, but as we all know, if you say something like absurd or ridiculous, everyone's going to pay attention to that. I know he doesn't. I'm just explaining it. I'm someone who does that sometimes too, and people will focus on the ridiculous thing you said as opposed to the broader point. Yaffe, is there any way to reel that back in, or is this just going to be the next 2 days or next week we're going to deal with this?
This is going to be the next week. I will say, I think the American people are kind of used to it. It's kind of built in with Trump that he's going to say things that are maybe not, whatever you want to call it, politically correct or whatever it is. I just personally, I wish he would, just act presidential sometimes when he doesn't, but I know that, this is Trump.
Well, maybe he's on the stage for 10 more years. Yaffe will figure out that that's not going to happen. Go ahead.
Right.
Okay, Yaffe, it wasn't just President Trump speaking today. There was also J.D. Vance spoke, Hegseth, the new transportation guy. What's his name, Dale?
Sean Duffy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you think they did? I mean, this was obviously a crisis situation. How do you think they did?
I haven't kept track of everybody's comments, but I will say Pete Hegseth, I thought he did great. I mean, he was immediately paying attention to it, immediately involved, immediately calling for investigations. I think he really stepped up to the plate, and I'm not surprised because I think he is going to be a good leader of the Department of Defense. J.D. Vance is always pretty good. I almost feel bad for the transportation secretary because he was just confirmed.
It was his second day on the job, I think.
Yeah, so that is a lot, but I think they did just fine.
Yeah, you've been talk shows for a while. You did talk shows in Florida, now Alabama, and immigration's been different in each and every place. And there's been this idea that nobody really ever wanted to do anything about immigration. Even in Trump's first term, he did not do as much as he's doing right now. Is this the reaction you think the American people actually wanted?
Yes, a lot. I mean, it's always hard to say, oh, the American people, because we're still pretty divided. I mean, Trump won, but it's still pretty divided. But I do think the majority, yes, that's what they want. And mostly because the Biden administration basically just left the border wide open and caused so many problems that it's like, okay, people, it really got people's attention who maybe weren't paying attention to it before.
Yaffe, let me ask a question, and it's also going to be about another topic we talked about, the return to office order for federal employees, as well as the ICE measures and things like that. Is there a point where it could go too far and Trump would lose support?
Honestly, I think he loses more support with the DEI-type comments of the plane crash than he does for actions like that. That's just my opinion. Usually what gets him in trouble is not his policies or things he's implementing. A lot of that's just common sense. People find that popular. Usually it's his mouth that gets him into trouble. It was his Twitter account before now, but it's his mouth. That's kind of my general thought on that.
Now, I'm married to a federal government employee. Mecca deals with federal government employees all the time. You deal with federal government employees all the time, including your listeners and things like this. Have you heard a single one say they would take the buyout?
No. I mean, I know it's only been a few days, but no, I have not.
Well, they only have a few days.
That's true.
They only have a few days
That's true.
to figure this out. And you know what? It's funny. I mentioned that. I also mentioned, like, I've not seen it in print. I've not seen that the person who's going to take the buyout. I haven't seen that person.
Right.
I'm sure they exist. The person that really doesn't want to come back to work and they're going to try to find a job. I'm sure they exist. But this is such a weird way to try to cut some of this. Because it's impossible to fire government employees.
I actually
This is a way to make them fire themselves.
Yaffe, do you okay? So you think people will actually take this offer?
No, what I think it exposed is most people understand they had it pretty good for the past few years, and they probably understood that it wasn't going to last forever. And it's just this is just kind of a way to get people to realize, okay, the party's over. We're going to have to go back. That is my general thought on the majority of workers.
And before we let Yaffe go, I will just acknowledge I am a giant hypocrite because I work from home every single day. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying they shouldn't enjoy it, but I do believe that employers should have that say. And apparently the people in charge of these agencies said we want them back, and that's what has to happen. Yaffe, thank you very much for being here. We always appreciate you. He's a radio talk show host on WVNN in North Alabama. Mecca's on her way out, so the show's going to get a lot better right here on Alabama Politics This Week.
Get Fox 54 Plus everywhere you stream. Watch local newscasts live or on your schedule, plus exclusive specials like Weekend Review, a recap of the week's top stories. Fox 54 Plus, live, local, and always on.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Take 5 minutes of your time right now. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. U.S. Med. Better service. Better care.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, we're about to jump in to the parting shot where we'll talk about some schools and immigration enforcement here in just a second. But before I do, let me remind you, YellowhammerNews.com. Go sign up for my email blast, the 7 things you should be talking about today. And every single day, you'll get an email from me, and I'll tell you those 7 things you should be talking about today. And then head on over to Yellowhammer News, and you can watch my videos and all sorts of other great stuff we do right there on that website. But right now, let's go ahead and get to that parting shot. My party shot this week is directed at all those educators out there who think that it is their job to stop immigration enforcement. Now, it's happened in Mobile, and I'm sure it's happened elsewhere in the state of Alabama as well, because the superintendent of the state of Alabama's schools, Eric Mackey, came out and said, look, if law enforcement shows up, even if they're ICE agents, and they try to come on campus, you have to let them on campus, which is an insane thing to even have to be said. And because the simple fact of all of this is they're not going out and they're arresting people just for being here illegally. Now, truth be told, if you are picking up people who have warrants and other things and you catch other illegals, they're getting caught up in it. That's true. That's happening. But the school systems are not a safe space for criminals. And the fact that there are educators or people working in the administrations in different school systems around the state that are thinking that that is true is somewhat disturbing. And there's going to have to be a price paid to teach a lesson to the individual that sent out an email telling them not to send kids to school, and when that is a completely inappropriate thing to do. The kids can continue to come to school. They're not going to scoop them up. But if you are in this country illegally, especially if you've already been ordered to be deported, then yeah, you're likely to be scooped up somewhere, anywhere. And churches and schools are not safe spaces, because if they do declare them that way, they will become full of people trying to avoid deportation. It's not how it's supposed to work. It's just not how it's supposed to work. It can't work that way. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics this week, and we'll be back next week.
WVNN is the only radio station of relevance in North Alabama, with the most live and local talk you'll find anywhere. Start your day with the Dale Jackson Show every morning at 5 a.m., followed by the Yeffy program at 9. Dan Bongino is up at 11. Right Side Radio starts your afternoons at 2. And Mark Levin takes you home at 5 p.m. It's the best news talk anywhere. And it's only on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson.